I just moved into the neighborhood and a neighbor already vandalized a car and called the city on us. Hi, I'm Rachel and welcome to Snacks and Scandals, where snacks meet Reddit story scandals. Today's episode theme has to do with neighbors from hell, and our snack pairing to go along with that are chocolate cinnamon bears. Innocent looking on the outside, but spicy on the inside. So before we get into our snack, we're going to read our first story. We just moved into our new home and a neighbor already vandalized a car and called the city on us. We just bought a house and knew the previous owner. We knew they had problems with the neighbor across the street, Gary, like having the city called and complained about weeds and so on. We dismissed it thinking it was probably valid. We've met all the other neighbors and they're all super nice and helpful, and agreed Gary is crazy and a big pain in the butt. We spent 2 months renovating the house before moving in, and we had a waste management dumpster bag out in front holding miscellaneous debris. We moved in, and less than a week after moving in, I got a visit from the city inspector citing us for blight. She was apologetic, explaining the single baseboard that was outside of the bag needed to be put inside it. I was so shocked and confused about getting a citation. She just explained, I can't tell you who the neighbor is, but the previous owners would have had this neighbor complain a lot. I've been to this house a lot and I'm sorry. I talked to the other neighbors we know and they vented about him saying it was ridiculous. All right, no problem. We can deal with this. Our niece is staying with us and had a friend stay the night. They parked across the street in front of Gary's house. When they went to leave the next morning, their front passenger tire was flat and the valve stem core was missing. They stupidly drove to get air in it and got the core replaced. My niece called me to tell me what happened, and I mentioned it to my next door neighbor, Nicole. She immediately explained, oh my gosh, that's Gary. I went over immediately and she told me this story. A few years ago, Gary's next door neighbor, renters, had their adult daughter living with them. The daughter parked in front of Gary's house one night, and the next morning, Nicole was outside chatting with another neighbor when the daughter, distraught, says her tire was flat. They look and the valve stem core is missing. She's panicked because she's going to be late for work. So the other neighbors help her get her tire inflated and fixed. Nicole said it was such an odd thing to happen because these parts don't just fall out. It has to be physically removed with a tool or gizmo. Fast forward to yesterday. I go to Nicole's house and talk to her and her husband. He had taken a picture of the car parked at Gary's thinking it was a car from a VRBO down the street and was worried something would happen, not knowing it was my niece's friend. In the photo you can see she's not parked illegally, she's perfectly legal on the street. We had no proof it was Gary, but obviously suspect it was him. My spouse and I are so mad and I'm petty as hell. So my current plan is to file a police report to document it, have the police talk to Nicole and her husband, and set up the nicest night cameras money can buy and I can afford to cover all aspects of my yard. Plus get some for Nicole's house. What else should we do? Well, not just night cameras, but definitely cameras for sure. Maybe cameras that film during the day, you can get them to be night cameras as well, but definitely cameras is the smartest move. And I would go talk to Gary. What's the harm in going to talk to him about the situations that are going on and see if there's anything that can be done to not follow his lead in everything and appease him with everything, but to at least see, we're nice neighbors. We want to live peacefully. What is it from you that you're expecting? So let's get into some comments. Okay, we're having some technical difficulties with Reddit. It's acting up, so I'm seeing if the laptop works any better. So now let's get into the comments. Sounds like outdoor cameras should be your next investment. I would also look into what citations can be called on Gary's house and flip the script on him. Time to get a neighborhood watch together and have everyone aware of Gary. Another person suggests tell everyone about this pattern of tires going flat so everyone is keeping an eye on him. Somebody suggests have a truckload of gravel delivered to his driveway, and somebody else followed up with manure. Get some dash cams for your car, ones that have optical motion sensors or parking mode, then park outside Gary's house. That's a smart idea, to get cameras for your car. The OP actually responded and said, we talked about doing that, just have to figure out what aftermarket ones work well as built-in ones. I have a car camera and it records when there's any movement and also records at night. Somebody else says, this is almost too easy. Park a vehicle in front of his house overnight, set up cameras from multiple angles, and watch him in the act of vandalizing it. 4 bonus points once it's done and he's slinking away, hit the panic alarm and watch him dance. Our last comment reads, if he's so brazen, set up good surveillance and bait him by parking the car and catching him in the act. I would say if you can tolerate it, try to collect months worth of evidence so you have a lot of charges to stick with him. And the OP commented that they will make time for this. So let's hear what you would have to do with Gary, the lovely neighbor. And now let's give our chocolate cinnamon bears a try. Smells chocolatey and a little bit cinnamony. Not the cutest looking bears, but you can kind of see the outline there. And I can't say that I've ever tried cinnamon bears, chocolate covered cinnamon bears. Very soft. It's weird. It tastes kind of like those cherries, those chocolate covered cherries, but with spice instead. And I wonder if the base for cinnamon bears is a cherry flavor, and that's why I'm getting that chocolate covered cherry flavor going on. So you'll have to wait till the very end to hear my overall thoughts. And our second story, my neighbor keeps trying to break into our apartment. So here's a fun little mystery from my building. Every single day, morning and evening, at 5 a.m. and again at 10 p.m. like clockwork, my neighbor tries to open my door with the handle like it's his. No key, just a firm jiggle of the handle before he realizes it's not opening and casually walks away. For context, I'm a 22-year-old woman living alone. He's probably in his 50s or 60s, not super chatty, talks to himself a lot, like full conversations, alone. Also, and I swear I'm not making this up, when he leaves his own apartment, he closes the door and then rings his own doorbell. Every time. No one ever answers. I have so many questions. At first I thought, honest mistake, but the thing is, he's been living here longer than I have, so he should know which door is his, right? But we are now weeks into his daily routine. Sir, I promise you, this has never been your apartment. It wasn't yesterday. It won't be tomorrow. And yet he persists. Like maybe one day the stars will align and suddenly the door will open and he'll walk into a perpetual universe or something. I've decided to slip a polite little note into his mailbox, something friendly but clear, just to say, hey, please stop trying to open my door, thanks. Maybe that'll be the end of it. Or maybe he'll just start knocking for good measure. Who knows? I'm considering leaving a note on the door, a sign, something like, still not your door, champ, or just embrace the chaos and start waving through the peephole every time he tries. Has this happened to anyone else, or am I staring into someone's confused sitcom without knowing? So when I read this, what comes to my mind is that your neighbor has OCD, and he has a routine when he comes and goes from his apartment to not only ring his own doorbell, but to try the handles of your door, and who knows if he's maybe even doing it to other doors. So I think he's got some OCD going on, but let's read some comments. Somebody suggested contact the building manager. Now that's probably the best first step you could take. Another commenter writes, a Ring camera, that alone has deterred obnoxiousness in front of our door. Report it. He could have OCD or some other mental illness. It looks like a lot of people are thinking that he has OCD. Somebody else suggests maybe he has schizophrenia, especially if it happens at the exact time daily. Doesn't sound like he genuinely wants to break into the OP's apartment though. I don't think she's in any danger, but would still definitely report it. I actually feel bad for him. It must be awful to have those compulsive urges and struggle to stop them. I know as a young woman, it's probably scary. And we actually have an update to this story. Well, folks, we've had progress, sort of. Here's what happened. After my last post, I left a little note in my neighbor's mailbox. Friendly tone, but clear message. I then proceeded to live my quiet little life until the next day when, plot twist, he knocks on my door. At that exact moment, I hear knocking. I know it's him. Call it female intuition or whatever. So I open my door, I smile, say hi like everything is all right. I'm a nice neighbor, you see. He asks me if I'm the one who put the note in his mailbox and then proceeds to tell me very insistently that it's not him. Not once, not twice, but multiple times, like a gaslighting remix on loop. I tell him I hear his door open, then a few seconds later, my handle wiggle. He smiles, shakes his head, and says, nope, wasn't him. So I play it cool and drop a casual, it actually wakes me up and my boyfriend. Because, hey, being a woman living alone next to a strange door enthusiast doesn't feel amazing. Still, he denies everything. So, in the name of peace and survival, I smile. I'm the nice neighbor here, remember? Say, I must have made a mistake. Hope he doesn't mind. Really sorry for the trouble, and close the door. I then proceed to check my locks, not once, not twice. Honestly, I lost count. And just a quick note for those worried about my safety. I see you, protective internet strangers. I have 2 locks and a chain on the door, and I never forget to lock it. I even check it multiple times a day when I'm home. We're staying safe and paranoid, the ultimate combo. Now here's the fun part. This morning, for the first time in ages, no door handle rattle, which strongly suggests, yeah, it was him. Surprise, I'm not. A miracle, or maybe he really walked into a perpetual universe, but my bet is he just realized I knew what he was doing. But because there's always one, around 4 a.m., I heard him open and close his door twice, like full door theatrics. Open, close, lock, repeat. Not quietly, not once, twice. So while he's no longer touching my door for now, let's make a bet how long it will last. I'm taking guesses. He's still apparently living out some kind of nocturnal hallway ritual. Don't ask me why. The hallway spirits maybe? Or OCD, as many of you suggested. So yeah, we're celebrating small wins. For now, my door gets to rest in peace, and let's hope it stays that way. And let's all repeat it together. Some doors just aren't yours, buddy. So some comments read, can you put a peephole camera door on your door? Yeah, that would be a really good idea, just to catch it if he does end up starting it up again. When he asks about it, say, well, it's not you. I need to know who, because you're the nice neighbor. Also, somebody suggests get a doorstop alarm on Amazon, cheap, and if he actually breaks in, this thing is loud. Many people use them while traveling. That's a very good tip. And our final comment, I hope you've alerted your landlord just to keep them in the loop. Best done in writing in an email so you have a paper trail. Very good point. Contact the building management if there is one, and definitely the landlord. So let's get into our final story. And all of these stories are coming from the subreddit Neighbors from Hell, and this one is asking if they are the bad neighbor. I live in a semi-rural town, and we live on 3/4 of an acre, so not super close to neighbors. This morning we had a rented skid steer to dig some of our backyard and do some landscaping. We prepaid $200 for 5 hours. We started early, 8 a.m. to avoid the heat so we could be done by 1 p.m. Now, the problem is we got started and all of a sudden one of our back neighbors, not directly behind us but diagonal, came running up to tell us to stop. I didn't even know who this person was when they came up to us. She told us we cannot do all that digging and make all that noise today. We asked why, and she told us it was her daughter's gender reveal and baby shower today at 11 a.m. in their backyard. I told her I was sorry, but we already rented and paid for the skid steer and we would be done around 12:30, but if we could get done sooner, we would. She went off on me, telling me I was a Karen who didn't care about others. I asked her how I was supposed to know about her plans. If she wanted to ask us not to make noise or disruptions, she should have given us notice and we could have changed plans. A neighbor did this last year when their wedding was in their backyard. Oh man, she lost it. Left and called the police and told them we were doing illegal digging. They came and we were doing nothing wrong and they left. She then sent her husband over. We explained to him and he apologized for her and left. She then continued to yell at us from her backyard until the party started. Should I have stopped the yard work for their party? My husband feels worse than me about it all. I say it is her own fault for not talking to us beforehand, but I'm starting to doubt myself. No, absolutely not the bad neighbor. And I would have done the same exact thing. You are very reasonable in this situation. She should have thought ahead, planned ahead, and said, hey, we're having an event in our backyard. Can you please be quiet? And I wouldn't be surprised if that same neighbor who had the wedding in their backyard probably also went to this Karen of a neighbor and said, hey, we're having a wedding in the yard. Can you make sure you keep down any noise? So I'd like to hear what you would do in this situation, but let's read some comments. Not the bad neighbor, she's a bad party planner. Nope, you are within your rights to work on your yard. And by the way, gender reveal parties are stupid, and I hope you used all 5 hours you had the machine. Yeah. I'm so happy the cops came and delayed their work, causing them to work further into the party time. Yeah, touche. A lot of people are saying they hate gender reveal parties too, so people don't really feel that bad about this. After someone calls the police on you when you're not doing anything illegal, game over, you are not the bad neighbor. And for our final comment, nope, you didn't know the party was happening and you'd paid good money for the rental of the equipment. A good neighbor would have offered to pay you back for the rental if they would like you to do the work another weekend. You don't have anything to feel bad about for telling an entitled neighbor no. So what would you do in these situations with these weird neighbors, some very rude, some just kind of annoying, and some questionable? I'd like to hear below. And for our snack pairing for this episode, cinnamon chocolate, cinnamon covered bears. I am going to rate these a 4. And if I had time, I'd probably suck on the cinnamon bear a while, let the chocolate melt, and then just eat the cinnamon bear. That would probably be a better way to go about it. But I don't think that's its intended purpose. It is covered in chocolate. So I'd love to hear from you if you've tried chocolate covered cinnamon bears and what you thought of today's stories. And I thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you'll join me for the next one.